Good morning, everyone. This is Tony Paladin from LCP Global Sports Consulting, and today I'm going to speak about what is sports sponsorship and why sponsor a sport. Well, a lot of companies and brands out there go, well, why sponsor a sport? What's the point? We see other people doing it, why should we? Well, the simple answer is that sport is ubiquitous. It is an omnipresent medium that pretty much everybody watches and crosses major barriers that basically bring us all together. So that said, what does a typical sports sponsorship look like? Well, every relationship is different, but statistically the research basically says that most corporates or brands that wish to sponsor a sport typically invest between around 0.2% to 1% of their total annual revenue. So that is an accepted norm, depending on the size of the athlete, club, league or team, is going to get you different amounts of exposure. Obviously, the most amount of exposure you're going to get is through a t-shirt sponsor, or from there you could have jersey rights, you could have event naming, you could have stadium naming, and obviously everything comes with a different price tag depending on how big the company is and how big the sport is. This is why well strategized deals generally tend to work a bit better than deals that are just put together on the fly. So as an example of an outlier of sports sponsorship, in 2021, TeamViewer, a software company, decided to spend 10% of their annual revenue and become Manchester United's main sponsor. Risky, but it paid off. Almost overnight, TeamViewer basically started punching in the same category as Adidas and Chevrolet. So you may ask, did that sponsorship pay off? Well, if you didn't know who TeamViewer was prior to 2021, you certainly do now. So effectively what they've done in taking such a big risk, but pitching at a very high level with a really big team, they took a major step forward in becoming known as a brand, and becoming known as a brand that is involved in sponsor sport, which generally looks quite attractive. So in terms of what do you get out of a sponsorship? Why sponsor? Well, there are a couple of reasons. Sometimes, and these are generally the more expensive sponsorship deals, people go after winning teams. So a company or a brand will look for the top 5 in a league or a competition and sponsor that. Typically those teams are bigger and more well known, and again come with a more hefty price tag. But there are quite a few other ways to do this and be a lot more effective. A big one that is fairly overlooked is sponsoring legacy. So although a team or a club or a league might not be winning at that particular point in time, they've got history. These are important to look out for, because generally clubs with legacy who are not performing need help. So there's room for negotiation. Another one, and this is massive, especially in the world of digitization, is basically reality TV. Understanding the nuts and bolts and the nitty gritties behind what athletes go through, how the sports organization works. All we see as spectators is what we see on TV. We don't see the behind the scenes. And I'm not talking looking at practices and short 30-second snippets about how lovely life is. As an athlete, and having been one for many years, I know how rough it is to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning or even earlier in the dark and the cold for one single purpose: to be better than everybody else. People don't see that. They don't see the financial stress, the relationship stress, the time away from family, the physical stress and the psychological stress. And this is why capitalizing on reality TV and looking at the day-to-day in the inner workings of athletes, clubs, teams and leagues and organizations as a whole, a lot of the infighting, very strong and dominant personalities. It's really good to see that. So typically, another strategic way in having a lucrative sponsorship would be to find a team that's struggling but got potential, invest in that. There'll be a relatively good bang for buck in terms of investment, but that becomes also a much closer partnership because the company or the brand actually walks the journey with that athlete, club, league, team or sport, and hopefully climbing the ranks up into success with the assistance of the partnership. So I know quite a few concepts to grasp, and I'm more than happy to discuss it further and help you with strategy. So please feel free to reach out. My details are below, and I'm happy to chat anytime, even if it's over WhatsApp. Have a great day. Cheers.